Hello, hello, hello. We're going to do the daily astrology for January the 1st. And happy New Year. I hope you all had a safe New Year. And everybody's okay. All right. So I'm going to say like before, I hope you enjoy this. I hope it helps you in your daily awareness, awakening as well. Please remember to give the videos thumbs up. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you hit the bell. And when you hit the bell, make sure you select all so you'll get all notifications that come out. What else is there? Please comment below. I will see your comment. I will respond as soon as I see them up. Okay? So let's go ahead and jump on over into the astrology and see what is happening. First thing I want to focus on the attention of the day of January the 1st at 3:59 in the morning. This is when it's going to happen. Remember, Eastern Standard Time is my time. Adjust accordingly for your area, okay? I don't know where everybody's area is, so I have to go from where I am at to let you know what's happening. All right, we have in the beginning here that the sun in Capricorn, as you can see right here, see the little baby right there at the top in Capricorn. Again, this is general because I don't know everybody's chart, but it is in the general astrology, okay, just of the events that are going on. Excuse me. The events that are taking place. And we can see that the sun is here at 10 degrees. And it is trying the moon, as you can see here. Sun is trying the moon over here in Virgo. And there's also, which you'll see in a minute, when I show what is these events that are happening. So it's sun's at 10:25, the moon is at 10:25. So let's get into what this with the sun trying the moon in Virgo, two earth signs, one's mutable, one's cardinal, right? So is a focus on the 10th house, to being in the 6th house of service, work, your daily routines, what's coming up. Remember, the ascending is what sign is coming up on the horizon. And the midheaven is where at this point here, okay? All right. So, now that we got that straight, we got Scorpio that's coming up. The midheaven is that right up there near the 10th house at that time. So there's a focus, there's a big focus to our daily, how we feel about our daily routines. The moon is how we express our purpose in everyday activities through our emotions, our attitudes, our habits, our general moods, and how you adapt to the environment around you. And of course, this is about the environment. The sun is our interpersonal purpose, our inner drive and energy, the source of our will and self-motivation, a sense of confidence, strength, individuality, and our creativity. So now these two luminaries are trying one another, which is like an easy flow, going through your daily routines, getting things done, taking care of maybe small animals, all those things, and how we put out the attitude, how we feel, and how we express everything through our emotions and what we see, what we focus, that purpose in life, our inner drive. So we do have the sun here in the same area with Pluto. And depending on where Pluto may be in your chart or that it's doing in that area that it's in, you'll have to determine and have your own chart. That's why it's so important to have your own chart. You know where the planets were at the time you were born. You know if there's any returns. And when planet goes into returns into your birth chart at the same time you were born, it has a major impact. There is a big change there when a planet returns to that place. So we all know that Pluto comes in as the destroyer or the transformer. It transforms things to regenerate things, to create a regeneration or an awakening to something that goes in and just destroys things that are not. Let's say there's things in your life going on. Pluto in that certain area of your house. You'll know. You'll know. Believe me, you'll know. I did. And it will destroy those things that no longer serve or needs to be an awakening or needs to be what it is you desire, because it deals with Scorpio, which, by the way, is ascending. But it also with Mars as well. And this, there's going to be some interaction here today because of the sun in Capricorn and it trying the moon. Okay? So let's see what the energies that are going on with the aspect configurations that are happening due to the moon or to the sun trying the moon. Boom. We have T-square. Okay? And the T-square, here you can see, that's being highlighted, is dealing with Mercury. Now, a T-square shows there's conflict here in the energies of these planets. Or the orb itself, because Vista's not really a planet, but is sort of an orb. But I like to use Vista because Vista is associated with Libra in some way as sort of a ruler, a co-ruler with Venus. And Chiron, I like using it because it does talks about the wounds and it does talk about the health of that house, the health of what's going on here. And it has an aspect or a co-ruling with Mercury in Virgo. Because Virgo is kind of known as the sort of natural-born healer. Virgo is the only one in the astrology that is of sort of all human form, the birth, the creation. I don't know why she didn't get known as the Empress, but she just takes in all that love, the capacity to love. And it's also about the values. So that's why I'm a Virgo as my sun, and I have a sort of a really strong connection with other Virgos. I was married to a Virgo one time. Boy, we were so much alike in some respects. But anyway, we have the apex in this T-square, which what all this points to is to this energy with Neptune. So Mercury being retrograde, now it's going to go direct later on this day. As the day goes on, it's going to go stationary to go direct. So during the time of its retrograde, we've been reassessing, rethinking, because Mercury is about thinking. It's about analyzing as well. What is Mercury analyzing? Neptune is that energy of our spiritual visions we have, or your creative imagination and your psychic ability to lead you beyond the materialistic of the world. Right? It can be good or bad. And it can kind of create a fog or a haze, Neptune will, in that vision that you have. And it can be sort of a glamour, illusion, but they're negative because it distorts the vision. But you got to use your highest idealism. You got to see beyond the fog. And that's why Neptune can take you beyond the psychic of the ability of just seeing the material, come on, Mercury. The materialistic of the world takes you beyond that. You can see some. I have done this myself many times. I have looked at things, and things might look bad, but I can see the good in something. That it can be created and made good. And I know that. And I try to see the good in all. But sometimes all they want to show you is not the good. That everything's. And that's why I kind of just have stayed away. I'm staying away from negative people, negative thoughts, negative ideals. If that's all you can do around me, then just you need to get away from me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not for that. But the apex is about this Neptune. Now, so with Mercury being retrograde, it's in opposition to Vista here. And what is Vista? Vista, like I said, is associated as a co-ruler with Venus to Libra. So visions or dreams that you had from the past, you're rethinking them. Because where Pluto was, whatever you had any spiritual, this is known as the keeper of the spiritual flame. Now remember, Neptune is spiritual as well. I don't dabble in the occult. Some people can say because of what I do. Yeah, you do. Well, you don't know what you're talking about, okay? So go on about your way. You think what you want to, but don't come at me in judgment because you know what? Nobody has a right to sit in judgment of someone else. All right? I don't try to judge people. I just take their actions for them showing me exactly who they are. And I let them do it. It's that simple. I don't judge them. Your actions can show me what you're made of. So, you know, that's just what I see. I don't go on what people say. I go on what they do. So with Vista and Mercury rethinking and Vista being in the house of Mercury's house, because it rules, not only does it rule Virgo, but it also rules Gemini. But we have Chiron, that's a co-ruler with Mercury over here in Virgo. So it's about healing oneself or healing something here, possibly wherever for Virgos, this would be your 8th house of what you desired. There's wounds there of what you aspire or wanted to create or what you were working toward. The actions you were putting towards something here with maybe another person. I'm just saying, if you were a Virgo, I'm not going to do individuals, but I'm looking at what you aspired. There's some wounds here, something here not healthy. And so there's, healing for the future because Chiron's right there next to the North Node, which is moving toward Chiron. Okay? So let's get back to this. You're rethinking these aspirations, these goals, these plans you have, and what you are spiritually going to devote yourself to. Now, both of these happen to be retrograde. So yes, there's a challenge here in meeting the vision or having the vision and really analyzing what you feel. Do you feel the same way anymore? Are you aspiring to work or put the effort into something here still? Okay? Now, what's interesting about this, with Vista being here in Gemini and Mercury being here, it's affecting the thoughts. Now remember, this is air. So you could be communicating about what your plans may be. Be cautious who you tell your plans to. Because Mercury is in that house, that 9th house of spirituality. It's in Sagittarius. And the 9th house deals with the higher mind. So you want to communicate with those of an intellectual way that can help you sort out or think through what you need to do. Do you put yourself around those that can help you create the vision of what you have that you're dedicated to, whatever it may be? Do you have the same philosophies or not? And the ninth house also has a lot to do with our consciousness. We want to expand our consciousness. That's growth. A lot of people talk about distant travel, going to foreign lands, or foreign people. We can do that with the internet. We don't really have to travel physically. We can travel through internet, right? We can learn from others. I've been spending a lot of time doing that. It's also about the religion or the teaching and higher education. It's a mutable sign. And it's ruled by Jupiter, which here has to deal with the values. And Jupiter is now stationary. So hopefully this can help because it's all Earth in this grand triangle we're going to get to in a minute. Now, let's go to the next one of the T-squares that we're dealing with here, okay? What is the focus here deals with Venus. Uh-oh. Gee, come on now. Don't do that to me. The capacity to love, right? And your values. And where the challenge is dealing with Saturn, which is often a representation of the father or the teacher. Some of you may go into these teachers of philosophy or religion, especially if you're very spiritual in nature. There may be some challenge there getting with the right ones at this time in your life, because it is squaring the midheaven. And the opposition from Saturn to the midheaven, there's a limit or restrictions. Let's say, and I would look at it this way, it's something with the law too. Saturn has a lot to do with the law. And it's also, it's where we operate within the limits of society. It's about responsibilities and rules, following the rules and the laws that there is. There's also fears with Saturn, obstruction, and limitations. It's father and teacher. And it's in a house of spirituality, but also making sure that you're not learning or getting involved in a cult. We don't want to do that. We want to go to a higher level of vibration. That means we want to ascend to a more spiritual being. We don't want to go down in the dark and the depths. No. So with these earth signs and what all of them, 3 of them, we want to nurture every day in our daily activities. Something nurturing, something healthy. But staying within the confinements of rules and regulations and being responsible as we should in our daily duties and focusing on them. Being of service. And that's because, the society's going to change now. It's not going to be the same anymore. The next T-square we have here, always have to remember, change, is back now with Mars instead of Mercury. What action about your vision, now that you're rethinking, maybe replanning, What actions are you going to take moving forward? And how devoted are you going to be to those actions? Are you going to keep kind of adjusting, tweaking things? Because squares can either be where you're building something or they're stumbling blocks. But it's up to you with these squares. How you handle the squares shows what you're like on the inside. And that's the confidence and the will and the self-motivation and your strength and your individuality and your creativity with that sun and that moon and, and your emotions and how dedicated you are into something here, doing something. Because the last thing that we have is the Grand Trine. And what is Jupiter? Jupiter now, like I said, is stationary and direct. And it is the apex on this, again, happens to be the sun, the ruler of us all. Our strength, our inner drive to achieve and accomplish and expand and grow, to be of service, to be analytical, look at the big picture of what we want to accomplish. Okay? A lot of energy going on early in the morning, isn't it? Which is nothing new. Okay. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of, as the sun comes up, it's kind of like foretelling what the day will be like. The next thing we have is here, we have Venus here in Sagittarius, okay? And it's squaring Saturn over here in Pisces. They're both at 317. 3 degrees, 17 in. And so this, oh shoot, dang it, I dropped my phone. It's about divine and life, our life and our language, how we communicate, how we express ourselves by our moods, our emotions. With Venus being that capacity to love, but not. It's about our values and being optimistic. But we're still here, as you can see, dealing with the T-squares. Same thing, Mercury. Now Mercury is stationary. Starting early this morning, Mercury goes stationary at 8:26 in the morning. As we waking up after our partying or fun or whatever we were doing, it's now stationary, and so is Jupiter. And they're going to begin to move. And these are going to go back in over here to Capricorn. Now, we got some interesting stuff that's going to be coming up this month. Very interesting. And also with Mars. Still in that, what we had earlier. It's like maybe you had some dream or you had some vision during your sleeping time. Something you saw that kind of put maybe things into perspective that, you're going through something. You've seen maybe a bigger picture or something during communication or whatever it was. The next thing we have is around 2:14 in the afternoon, when the moon in Virgo at 15:27, 15 degrees and 27 minutes in, is in a quincunx with Chiron at 15:27, 15 degrees and 27. So this with 15 is something hidden within the laws, but there's grace there. So there's something with healing that's hidden there. Quincunxes are very difficult, very difficult. It's how you feel toward what you actually, the wounds you feel. Something here not very healthy. Now, with quincunxes, it shows where decisions and adjustments needed between the moon and Chiron, the healing, the act of healing, doing service work that can heal or help others heal for the future. In our daily routine of life, something about ourself and our image and how we send out this energy or make adjustments to what we feel based on what we possibly see, where you can be of service to help others in the future without stepping out of your, or I don't want to say stepping out of your values, but working within your values to help others. You see a need, you feel it, and you want to help. You want to help others to improve as well. But again, we see the same thing going on here. The T-square. And we're still going to be working through this. Now, the next aspect we have of the day, because remember I said the last time it was at 2:14 Eastern Standard Time in the afternoon. And now at 22:07, which would make it 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock at night, and Mercury now stationary and direct, like I said, we have still the T-squares, but this time now it's the moon in opposition to what our dream or our vision is, but we're the apex being Mercury stationary now. Now we can start making the plans or reaping the harvest of plans that we had already made, maybe previously in the past. We had made these plans because we had our mind activated, thinking about what do we need to finish and resolve in the past so we can help heal and move on to the future. Because that sun is still in this trine with Jupiter now and with the ascending. We still have the quincunx that we've got to make a decision here. And we got to have the courage to make that decision about our future, what we're going to do. But now, these are the two that's already been going on. Remember? Mars and Mercury? But this one got thrown in. Because now it's stationary. So now would be the time to start implementing what the plan is, or looking at the big picture and seeing if there's anything here that you need to change in what you're going to build, or what's in your way that you need to get it out of your way. You need to handle it. Don't delay it. You need to work on it. You need to look at it and see, do I need to adjust this over here? Do I need to adjust that? Because what we're going to, the thing we're going toward, is the new moon. And after the new moon is where the new lunar cycle begins. And when we come to that first quarter of the moon, that is actually when we start doing the work. Your time right now is to look back at what you've already harvested, but yet what still might need to be finished. What you still might need to work on. Maybe plan them for the next day. The next thing we have here is we have the moon, again, still in Virgo, and it's trying Uranus, retrograde. Now, Uranus is going to go direct, okay? Let me see. Let me switch this over for a minute. Let me look up Uranus and we'll see. Mm, Let me calculate the 2023. That was, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. No wonder I'm so confused here. I was looking at Neptune. All right, let's go back to 2024 because I knew it was going to go. All right, January the 27th. It is going to go stationary and direct on January 27th. So the end of this month is going to go. And remember, when planets go stationary, they're just as powerful, if not more so. So your mind being, which is communication, and Mercury being the mind and communication, really processing things is going to be really heightened right now. And you're going to be very optimistic when it comes to the capacity to love and really look at your values. Because the thing with this moon in Virgo, in a trine to really shaking things up, is kind of a comfort shake. A trine is where it's like your creative self-expression. Remember the emotions. That's our expression. You express your emotions so maybe analytically, or you're really looking at the big picture of everything you see, and you're just expressing those emotions you have through whatever attitude you may have, or habits, or your general moods, and or how you adapt to your environment, because Virgo is a mutable sign. It means it does things to adapt, to survive. And a lot of people will do that, especially, that's why I love mutable signs. And the mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, because they take a situation, whether it's positive or negative, and especially when it's positive, they really are enthusiastic about it. But when it's negative, they're able to look at a negative situation and see how it can probably be improved. Take a negative and turn it into a positive, because in their environment, they know they need to survive. They're the survivals. You ever remember the show, The Survival of the Fittest? Well, they know that they will adapt in some way and learn to survive in that environment, no matter what it is. Always trying to be optimistic about it, that it's going to be better. So you may be shaking things up a little bit, because especially with something here with Uranus in this quincunx to the south node. Because your mind is being, I'm telling you, you Virgos, y'all's minds are going to be really, really activated. Now we also, let's go back over to the T-square now that we know that Uranus is going to go direct. And when it goes stationary, at that time, it'll go stationary first, and it will be really intense, the shaking. We'll feel it. You'll feel it. We will all feel it in our values. We'll all feel it in our monies, or surprises, because Uranus is like things just kind of that shock and awe that comes from out of nowhere. Blessings, rewards, whatever this is. That maybe where you work, now you reach the harvesting of something you've done here. But it's not, I just don't feel like the work is done yet. It's not finished. Because we have this quincunx from Uranus to the past. That's saying there still needs to be some adjustment to the energies of whatever has happened in the past. And this is the house of relationships, partnerships, marriages, clients, whatever this is. You're kind of shaking up the world is what you're doing. But you have the capacity with your values that are going to ascend to be of service in some way. That's why I said, with Virgos, especially in all mutable signs in some way, I have a very high regard for them because, like I said, they will do what it takes to take a bad situation. You put them in a bad place, a mutable sign, and let me tell you, and back them up against the wall, they're going to come out. They're going to come out a survivor. Don't play with mutable signs. Don't do it. You'll be on the losing end. Because fixed signs are those that stay. They have trouble handling the changes. They have a certain values that really don't change. They have whatever it is, they're fixed in that in that energy that, each one of them is different in their way of their thinking or of what they feel or, or what they're focus on or, what their attention, but it's fixated. It's almost like a fixation. They have a harder time. And then your cardinal signs, these are the ones that, can be natural born leaders, but what type of leader are they? We think that our politicians, they're natural, born leaders. We have kings, rulers, dictators, all this. These are like those that just control. But some are good, very good, and some of them are evil. And this is where it comes in, that you've got to know what are good and what is evil. Because remember, all those people back during the day, the Jim Jones, the David, I can't remember his last name, down in Waco, because the occults. Don't get yourself involved in an occult or with an and usually it goes around spiritual people. If they're fixed in a way and they have more in their chart of some way, know who you get involved with. Watch what they say and then watch how they act. Let them show you who they are. Because believe you me, Satan will be more than happy to show you his hand. He will be more than happy to show you how evil he can be. He can promise you everything and deliver nothing. Be wary of those that promise everything and deliver nothing. But you will be the one suffering, not them. There will be a downfall for them. Believe you me, they will be a downfall for them. But in the meantime, you'll be the one suffering. Now, like I said, I would call them out too, and I wouldn't be ashamed one bit to call them out. We're still, excuse me, We're still dealing with these T-squares that are going on. And this will go on into the evening. We'll still be dealing with them. They started early, and it ain't done yet. So my message to all of y'all is look at your plans. Look at the big picture. See where the areas in your life needs to be changed. Please, and I cannot emphasize this enough, please get your chart at the time of your birth. You got to have the time of your birth and the location of your birth. Get to know your chart. All right? Know where certain things are, especially these planets. Don't worry so much about the dwarf planets and the stars and this and that. Unless you're into Vedic astrology, and you want to study that, that's totally different. But they do have some influence. I will say that. But don't overstress with it. Know your chart. Know when these planets come back into that time of your chart and when they will come back in there. Because when there is a return to the time of your birth, it's going to be a big emphasis to changing your life for the future. Okay? Thank you for being with me, and I hope this helps. Work on these challenges. Like I said, face a challenge because it's only going to show you what you're like on the inside. Say, I'll take that challenge. I'll meet that challenge because only you will grow that way. And that's where you get your self-confidence. That's where you learn. That's where you excel to a better place. Okay? Y'all take care, and thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it, and we'll see y'all later.